I, female, 35, just found out my husband, male, 37, is having an affair with his ex-girlfriend, female, 34, who is now pregnant with his baby. Then he suggested we become a throuple, throwaway for obvious reasons. So yeah, my whole life just imploded and I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. Sorry if this is all over the place. I haven't slept properly in days and I'm basically running on coffee and anger at this point. Some background, I guess. Me and Wayne have been married for 8 years, together for 10. We met at my friend Caitlin's housewarming party. He was this super charming guy who made everyone laugh and somehow made me feel like I was the only person in the room when we talked. Like I literally remember thinking, is this guy for real? Because he seemed too perfect. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. We had a really tough journey having our son Charlie. He's 4 now. We tried for like 4 years. Went through multiple rounds of IVF that basically drained our savings and put a huge strain on our marriage. Wayne was kind of hesitant about kids at first, but then seemed to embrace being a dad once Charlie arrived. He's actually really good with him, which makes this whole thing even more confusing and painful. I work as a corporate attorney at a mid-sized firm and have been handling this major case for the past few months that's basically eaten my life. Lots of late nights, working weekends, etc. Wayne is a marketing executive for some regional company. We live in a nice house in the suburbs that we renovated last year, way over budget because Wayne kept upgrading materials without discussing it with me first. But whatever, that's not even important now, I guess. About 2 weeks ago, my phone was charging and I needed to order takeout for dinner. I asked to use Wayne's phone, which I've done like a million times before. While I was looking at the menu, a text popped up from Rach saying, "I miss you already. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Baby kicked today." My stomach dropped. Wayne was in the shower at the time, so I started scrolling through their texts. I know, invasion of privacy or whatever, but I mean, come on. There were messages going back 6 months. Not only was he having an affair with his ex-girlfriend from college, Rachel, but she's 3 months pregnant with his child. I felt like I was gonna throw up. My parents had a super messy divorce when I was 16. My dad cheated on my mom with his secretary. So freaking cliche, right? And I literally promised myself I would never end up in that situation. Wayne's parents are still together after 40 years, but it's obviously a miserable marriage. His dad has had multiple affairs that everyone pretends not to know about. Wayne always insisted he was nothing like his dad, which now feels like a cruel joke. I actually believed him. God, I feel so stupid. I didn't confront Wayne right away. My best friend Lois is a family law attorney, thank God. We've been friends since law school, and she's always been skeptical of Wayne. Once she commented that he seemed too smooth to be trustworthy, I dismissed it as jealousy at the time. Wish I'd listened to her now. For the past 2 weeks, I've been gathering evidence. Lois told me to do this. I found out Wayne has been secretly diverting funds from our joint account to a separate account, which he's been using to support Rachel financially during her pregnancy. Like he's been paying her rent and stuff while I'm working 60-hour weeks to support our family. I can't even. During these 2 weeks, Wayne has been unusually attentive, bringing home flowers, suggesting date nights. I thought he was trying to reconnect with me after we'd been distant because of my work schedule. Turns out it was just guilt and buttering me up for the conversation to come. I finally confronted him last night. I casually mentioned that my colleague John saw Wayne having lunch with a woman across town. Wayne immediately got defensive, asking why John was spying on him. I said John wasn't spying, just happened to be there for business. Wayne said he was just catching up with an old friend. I asked if that friend was Rachel. He went pale and asked how I knew. I told him I'd seen the texts and knew everything. He tried to minimize it, saying it was just physical and didn't mean anything. When I asked about the pregnancy, he admitted it, but claimed he was trying to find the right time to tell me and figure things out. Then Wayne suggested his solution, forming a throuple relationship with Rachel. His reasoning was that this way he could be there for both families and both children. He framed it as progressive and modern while avoiding any real consequences for his actions. I realized this plan had been worked out between Wayne and Rachel weeks ago. He already had arguments ready and had discussed living arrangements. He even suggested we move to a bigger house so everyone would have their space. And apparently Rachel is a great cook and would help with Charlie sometimes. I can't even type this without feeling sick. Looking back, there were so many red flags I missed. Wayne's sudden interest in ethical non-monogamy podcasts months ago, his increased secrecy with his phone, unexplained absences he blamed on work. Oh, and how he had suggested moving to a bigger house for Charlie to have more space, when in reality he was planning for Rachel and the new baby. I feel so blind and stupid for not seeing what was happening. I've always believed communication could solve any problem in our marriage. Maybe that's naive, I don't know. But honestly, I've been silently building resentment for years about Wayne's selfishness in small daily decisions, like the house renovation, where he kept making expensive changes without asking me, or how he bought a new car last year when we were supposed to be saving for Charlie's college fund. I rejected the Throuple idea and told him I was filing for divorce. Wayne didn't take me seriously, saying I was overreacting and would calm down so we could discuss this rationally. That's when I revealed I had already consulted an attorney and knew about his financial misconduct. He was shocked by how prepared I was, but still claimed I would eventually forgive him because we've been through too much together to throw it all away. He brought up Charlie, which made me so angry because I am thinking about Charlie and what kind of example this sets for him. I'm staying at the house with Charlie while Wayne is supposedly at his brother's, though for all I know he could be with her. I don't know what comes next, but I know I can't stay in this marriage. I just can't. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the supportive comments. To answer some questions. 1. Yes, I've already started separating our finances. Lois helped me move half our savings to an account in just my name the day after I found out. 2. Some people are asking if I'm sure the baby is his. According to their texts, they've already done a prenatal paternity test. It's definitely his. 3. No, I haven't told Charlie anything yet. He's only 4, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this with a child psychologist's help. 4. To those saying I should have confronted him immediately, maybe you're right, but Lois advised me to get evidence first, and I'm glad I did. He's already trying to make me sound crazy to our friends, saying I misunderstood everything. Number 5. For everyone asking about Rachel, she's his college girlfriend from before we met. They dated for like 3 years and apparently broke up because the timing wasn't right or something. I met her once at a mutual friend's wedding years ago, and she seemed nice, which makes this even worse somehow. Now for the first update. Okay, so sorry it took me a while to update. These past few weeks have been insane, and I'm still processing everything, to be honest. The divorce proceedings are officially underway thanks to my friend Lois. We filed citing adultery and financial misconduct, which Wayne initially didn't take seriously at all. He was telling mutual friends things like, she's just upset, this will blow over, and Eleanor's overreacting, we'll work it out. He genuinely seemed to think I would eventually calm down and accept his modern solution. His attitude changed real quick when he got served with divorce papers at his office, though. He called me like 20 times that day, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails. At first, he was pissed. How could you embarrass me like this at work? Then it shifted to begging. Please, Ellie, we need to talk about this. And you're not thinking clearly. Let's just sit down together. I saved all the voicemails for my lawyer. Listening to them again was like watching someone slowly realize they've lost control of the situation. The hardest part has been Charlie. He's only 4 and keeps asking where his daddy is. I've been trying to explain things in age-appropriate ways without demonizing Wayne, even though I want to scream about what an asshole his father is. I've been saying things like, Daddy and Mommy are taking some time apart to figure things out, but it's so hard when he looks at me with those big, confused eyes. I break down crying after he goes to bed almost every night. Wayne's sister Taylor reached out to me privately, which was unexpected. She told me she always knew Wayne had never fully gotten over Rachel from their college days. Would have been nice to know before I married him and had his child, but whatever. She's been surprisingly supportive, though, and said she's disgusted with her brother's behavior. I've been stress baking at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep. Made 3 complicated recipes last week. My kitchen is constantly full of baked goods that I keep bringing to Lois's office because I can't eat them all. Actually gained 5 pounds already, which is just great on top of everything else. I also started taking Charlie to a child therapist who specializes in divorce. Through Lois, I was able to secure temporary court orders giving me primary custody of Charlie and exclusive use of our house. Wayne tried to argue against it, but the judge wasn't having any of his BS. The look on his face when the judge ruled in my favor was almost worth all this pain. Almost. Wayne finally hired an attorney, but only after crucial time had passed where I was able to secure those temporary arrangements. The discovery process has been revealing, to say the least. Not only was he supporting Rachel during her pregnancy, but he was using our joint funds for lavish dates. Weekend getaways, he claimed, were business trips, and even put a down payment on a car for her, with our money, while I was working 60-hour weeks. I literally threw up when I saw the bank statements. At first, I thought Wayne was being considerate about Charlie's needs by not fighting the temporary custody arrangement. Turns out, according to text messages that came out during discovery, he and Rachel had been planning for me to have primary custody all along so they could have their freedom while still having family time on weekends. They literally planned for me to do the majority of childcare while they played happy couple. About 2 weeks ago, Wayne showed up unannounced on a Sunday morning with Charlie's favorite breakfast. I reminded him that our custody agreement requires 24-hour notice before visits, and he claimed he forgot and just wanted to surprise Charlie. I knew it was BS, but Charlie had already spotted him through the window and came running to the door all excited. I felt so torn between enforcing boundaries and not disappointing my son. Charlie was jumping up and down, yelling, "Daddy! Daddy!" And Wayne was giving me this look like, "You're not going to turn me away in front of our son, are you?" So I let him in, which was my first mistake. While Charlie was eating his breakfast, Wayne suggested we talk things through for Charlie's sake. Charlie went to play in his room after breakfast, and I agreed to a brief conversation. Wayne started with what seemed like sincere apologies about his mistakes. He was saying all the right things, that he'd been selfish, that he wasn't thinking clearly, that he got caught up in the excitement of reconnecting with Rachel, but realized what he was risking. For a split second, I almost felt a twinge of sympathy. Then he revealed his true purpose. He asked if he could move back into the guest room to make this easier on Charlie. Said it would help with the transition and give us time to work through things as a family. I honestly couldn't believe it. I refused, reminding him of the court order. His demeanor instantly changed from contrite to angry. His exact words were, "You're using Charlie as a weapon against me." I asked him to leave since he was violating our custody arrangement. That's when he threatened to tell Charlie that Mommy is keeping Daddy away from him. I maintained eye contact while calmly taking out my phone and recording his threat. The moment he noticed, he completely changed his tone again and left without another word. I sent the recording straight to Lois. Wayne has been switching between pleading, anger, and manipulation nonstop. He keeps saying things like, "Think about what this will do to our son," and "Charlie needs his father," as if I'm the one who blew up our family by cheating and getting another woman pregnant. He even tried to legally move back into the house, but Lois had anticipated this and blocked it. Wayne's parents found out about everything last week. His mom called me crying, asking what she could do to fix things between us. His dad was silent during the call, which didn't surprise me given his own history of affairs. But the next day, I got an email from him that actually shocked me. He acknowledged Wayne's poor choices and offered financial support for Charlie if needed. The narrative Wayne had been spinning to our friends is completely falling apart. He told everyone I was overreacting to a brief indiscretion, conveniently leaving out the part where Rachel was already 3 months pregnant when I found out. Several friends who initially took his side have called to apologize after hearing the full story. We're finalizing the settlement now. Wayne's attorney basically told him to settle quickly, given all the evidence against him. I'm getting the house, primary custody with generous child support, a favorable division of assets, and alimony based on our lifestyle and income disparity. Lois says it's one of the best settlements she's ever negotiated, which feels like a small victory in this nightmare. I have such conflicted feelings about everything. On one hand, I'm proud of myself for standing up and securing Charlie's future. On the other hand, I'm devastated that our marriage is over and our family is broken. I never wanted this for Charlie. I remember how much my parents' divorce affected me as a teenager, and Charlie's even younger. It breaks my heart. Wayne has moved in with Rachel, not because their relationship is so great, but because it was literally his only option. I've noticed during custody exchanges that Rachel is pretty cold toward him. I thought it was relationship troubles until Lois pointed out that Rachel is probably pissed because the financial settlement left Wayne with way less money than she expected. I'm trying to establish clear co-parenting boundaries and focus on creating stability for Charlie. It's exhausting processing my own emotions while also being strong for him. Some days I feel empowered and ready to embrace this new chapter, and other days I can barely get out of bed. The betrayal still feels so fresh, and I know I told Lois I blocked Wayne on everything, but sometimes at night I still check his social media. I hate myself for it, but I can't seem to stop. I keep hoping to see signs that he's miserable, which is probably not healthy, but whatever. I'm working on it. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight again. Thank you all for the overwhelming support and advice. It means more than you know during this awful time. To those asking if Wayne and Rachel planned this pregnancy, based on texts we discovered, it was an accident, but Wayne was excited about it once he found out. They'd been secretly seeing each other for about 6 months before the pregnancy. Several people have asked about Wayne's access to Charlie. He gets him every other weekend and one dinner visit during the week. The court mandated that Rachel cannot be present during these visits until Charlie has had more time with his therapist to process everything. Yes, I've changed all the passwords to our accounts and have a security system installed at the house now. Wayne returned his key as ordered by the court. Now for the second update. Okay, so it's been forever since I posted, but honestly, life has been a complete whirlwind, and I'm just now feeling like I can breathe enough to give you guys an update. It's been about 6 months since the divorce was finalized, and wow, I guess with the biggest news, Rachel had the baby about 3 months ago, a little girl named Lily. And yes, they did a DNA test, which was kind of hilarious because Wayne actually tried questioning paternity for like a hot minute when he realized how much child support he'd be paying for 2 kids. Shocker. The baby is definitely his. Charlie just turned 5 last month. He's starting kindergarten and is obsessed with dinosaurs right now. He's been seeing this child psychologist who says he's adjusting really well considering everything. We have this routine now that seems to be working. It's different, but stable. And I think that's helping him process everything. Oh, and get this. Wayne and Rachel's relationship fell apart just 3 months after they moved in together. Turns out when you're dealing with real-life stuff, like a newborn and money problems and, the complete mess you made of your previous family, the relationship isn't quite as exciting as when it was just sneaking around in hotel rooms. Who would have thought? Like, I'm not saying I predicted this exactly, but okay, I totally did. Wayne is now living in this tiny 1-bedroom apartment in the sketchy part of town. He had to sell his fancy car, the one he just had to have last year when we were supposed to be saving for Charlie's college fund, and now drives some 10-year-old sedan. He also had to give up his precious golf club membership, which honestly might be hurting him more than the divorce. Between paying child support for Charlie and Lily, plus rent and everything else, he's basically broke all the time. He even started taking freelance projects on weekends just to make ends meet. And no, his parents didn't bail him out. His dad actually told Wayne he made this bed and now he has to lie in it, which is probably the only time I've ever agreed with my former father-in-law. My mom came to stay with us for a few weeks after everything was finalized, and it was honestly so amazing. She brought all these old family recipes and helped me establish new traditions for me and Charlie. We made Christmas cookies from scratch, even though I almost ruined them, and Charlie loved it so much. I think having these new traditions that are just ours has been really healing for both of us. I also reconnected with my college roommate, Justine, who went through almost the exact same situation with her ex about 5 years ago. She's been this incredible source of support. She keeps telling me it gets easier, and I'm starting to actually believe her. Professionally, things have been going really well for me. I successfully handled that major case I mentioned in my first post, and the partners at my firm have been talking about advancement possibilities. Meanwhile, Wayne got passed over for a promotion he was expecting because his performance has been suffering with all the personal chaos. Apparently, there's been a lot of gossip about him at work, and people who used to be nice to him are now keeping their distance. I don't take any pleasure in that. Okay, maybe a tiny bit, but it's just another consequence of his choices. Financially, I'm in a pretty stable place. got a raise at work, and between that and the settlement, Charlie and I are doing fine. I met with a financial advisor last month who suggested setting up college funds for potential future children, as well as Charlie. I think he was assuming I'll remarry soon, which is so not on my immediate radar. But whatever. I appreciated him thinking long term, I guess. I wish I could say I've completely moved on from all the pain, but that would be a lie. I still sometimes cry when I see happy, intact families at Charlie's school events. Those moments are getting less frequent, though. I've been redecorating the house to remove all traces of Wayne, painted the walls, got new furniture, completely redid our bedroom, my bedroom now. It feels like a fresh start. Charlie and I have our little routines now. Pancakes every Saturday morning, movie night on Fridays, and he helps me water the plants on Sundays. It's different, but it's good. And yeah, I have started dating again, very cautiously. There's this guy, Gabe, I met at a school function. He's also divorced with a daughter in Charlie's class. We've been taking things extremely slowly, but he's kind and funny and respects my boundaries. It's nice to feel something again, even if I'm still very guarded. Had the most awkward/satisfying encounter with Wayne last week at Charlie's science fair. Wayne showed up looking completely disheveled. Wrinkled shirt, bags under his eyes, the works. I was having a good day, had just come from a successful meeting at work, hair and makeup done, wearing a new dress I'd bought myself as a little victory present. And Wayne saw me and immediately came over to awkwardly compliment me about how good I looked. I thanked him politely and asked about his job. He told me he was still at the same company, but things were tough right now. Then Rachel walked in with baby Lily in a stroller, looking really annoyed. They apparently coordinated to both attend, but separately. She immediately approached Wayne and made a comment about him being late with the monthly baby expenses, and she said it loud enough that several nearby parents definitely overheard. Wayne looked so embarrassed. I excused myself to go see Charlie's project, but Wayne followed me, asking if I ever regretted how things turned out. I told him I regretted that we couldn't make our marriage work, but not the decisions I made after discovering his cheating. Then he admitted I was right about everything and that he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. I just acknowledged what he said, but made it clear I've moved on. Then he actually asked if we could ever try again someday when things settle down. I told him firmly that chapter is permanently closed. Gabe walked over at that moment to say hi. I introduced them briefly before walking away with Gabe to see Charlie's project. When I glanced back, Wayne was just standing there alone. Rachel had moved to the other side of the room with the baby. Co-parenting with Wayne continues to be challenging. Last month, when I went to pick up Charlie after his weekend visit, I couldn't help but notice how messy Wayne's apartment was. There was barely space for Charlie's things, and Wayne looked absolutely exhausted. He mentioned Lily had been up all night crying. I asked if everything was okay with Rachel and the baby, and he admitted Rachel was threatening to restrict his access to Lily. Despite everything, I felt a moment of sympathy for him. Then he asked if I could adjust the child support temporarily until he gets back on his feet. I had to remind him that the support is for Charlie's needs, not mine. He suggested I didn't need it with my lawyer salary, and I pointed out that his financial issues were the consequence of his choices. He got defensive, saying he was trying to do right by both kids. Then I noticed Charlie listening from the hallway and quickly changed the subject. Before we left, Wayne told me that Rachel was demanding more money outside their agreement. I suggested he talk to his lawyer rather than discussing it with me. He just muttered something about paying for his mistakes for the rest of his life. All I could say was that we all are, and that Charlie was ready to go. From what I can gather, Wayne and Rachel are now hostile co-parents themselves. She uses Lily as leverage to try to get more money from him, and he complains about feeling trapped between two families. I almost feel sorry for him, but then I remember that he created this situation entirely by himself. I've learned a lot about myself through all of this. My therapist has helped me see why I was attracted to someone like Wayne in the first place. I've built a stronger support network of friends and family who really show up for me, and I found out I'm stronger than I thought. Sometimes I think about how ironic it is that Wayne's betrayal ultimately led me to a happier, more authentic life than I had before. That's not to say it hasn't been incredibly painful. It has, but I'm not bitter anymore. Just grateful for where I am now and the growth that came from this experience. Wayne is finally understanding what he lost through his selfishness. now juggling two separate and difficult co-parenting relationships while struggling financially. But even seeing him face the consequences gives me no satisfaction when I think about how it affects Charlie. My son still sometimes asks difficult questions about why his family is different now, and that breaks my heart every time. I guess what I've learned is that sometimes the best way forward is just living well. I'm rebuilding my life on my own terms, and for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the future.